All right, so I just got to be real with you. Today, I was supposed to go out to a community here in the Oklahoma City area and film a neighborhood, not only for clients, but for this channel. And I woke up today and it's 18 degrees. That's right, on the day of this recording, it's 18 degrees outside here in Oklahoma City. And I am so frustrated about it that it inspired the video that I'm about to make right now, which is honestly just to vent a little bit about the things that kind of frustrate me about OKC. So if you're into that, it's going to be a little vent session. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? I'm Jonathan Knight, and on this channel, I talk about all things Oklahoma City and all of the surrounding suburbs. As a quick disclaimer, I do generally talk positive things about Oklahoma City because I do genuinely love OKC. But if I'm being totally honest, sometimes things about this city do kind of get under my skin, or really just living in Oklahoma in general, that are a little bit frustrating, and I just want to knock off the sheen and just be real with you a little bit if that's okay today. So we're going to talk about everything from it being 18 degrees today to one of the things that, despite it being so inexpensive as a whole, that is just incredibly expensive here in Oklahoma. And of course, yes, there's gonna be some complaints about the weather, go figure. But really quickly, if you are thinking about moving to the Oklahoma City area, whether it's next week, next month, a few months from now, listen, I would love the opportunity to help make a smooth move right here to OKC. So you're gonna find my contact information in the description below. So please feel free to shoot me a call, a text, or an email, or even better, click the link below to schedule a one-on-one video call with me so that we can discuss how I can hopefully help you buy that perfect home right here in OKC. All right, so maybe I can skip my therapy session and let's get into it. All right, first things first. One of the things that's kind of always frustrated me about living in Oklahoma City is just the weather volatility. I mean, seriously, like 2 weeks ago, I'm pretty sure it was in the 60s. Even like what seems like 5 or 6 days ago, it was in the high 50s, and I went out and flew my drone at the lake. But somehow in the last 4 days, it has literally snowed twice here. And the low tonight is supposed to be literally 9 degrees. Now look, I'm all for a little bit of cold, and I guess, you know, I'm glad we get a little bit of snow, although we have had more than average snow already this year. Pretty sure we normally get about 5 inches, and I think we've exceeded that in these 2 snows. But I digress. I don't mind some cold weather, but the cold here is just a little bit different. And that's because it's not just cold, but it's wet, and the wind. Oh my God. Actually, the thing that fired me up the most about today, when I walked outside and felt like I got slapped in the face by old man winter. And those of you coming from cold places, come to Oklahoma and I promise you're gonna know what I'm talking about. It's just a different kind of cold. But the truth is, who knows, next week it might be in the upper 60s. And you know what? I'm gonna say that I'm grateful for those nice days that we get in December and January and even February, but sometimes just the unpredictability can get a little annoying, if I'm being totally honest. And that's what this video is about, so here I am. Like they say here in Oklahoma, if you don't like the weather, wait about 5 minutes. Now, another one of the things that is a little frustrating to me, and honestly, this isn't like a huge frustration because I have lived in Oklahoma City my whole life. It's more of just one of those things that I'm kind of envious of other cities. It's that Oklahoma City just isn't very walkable, like at all. I was talking to a friend of mine in Portland the other day, and he's making these really fun videos where he goes from one cool neighborhood to the next one, and he can walk to the very next neighborhood that's like in walkable distance, all of it. And that is just not how our layout is at all. Now, we are starting to get some neighborhoods that are getting designed to be a little more self-sustaining, where it's sort of walkable within that community, but walking from one of those communities to another is just like not a thing here. As an example, I did a video on the Wheeler District, which is a really cool, walkable, very cool community that you should definitely check out. I'll throw a card up here for you to check that video out if you want. But while you can walk all around the Wheeler District and find a lot of the things that you're gonna need, if you need to walk to another community, you're gonna need to get in your car. And a lot of that is because Oklahoma City is just, frankly, massive. I mean, the land area of Oklahoma City makes it the 8th largest city in the United States by area, which is one of the things I was telling my friend in Portland. I was like, man, that would be great to make those kinds of videos. But Portland can fit inside Oklahoma City nearly 5 times. In fact, there's a really cool image. It's pretty funny. I'll throw it on the screen right here where it shows like 7 different major cities that can fit within Oklahoma City. So it's kind of wild. So if you're coming from a walkable city, I hate to break it to you, you'll learn to adapt, but that ain't it here. That kind of leads me to the next one, which is kind of obvious considering what I just spoke about, but Oklahoma City is a place where you're absolutely going to need a car. And it makes sense because it's not very walkable, but honestly, just because it's so spread out, the city is so big, kind of anywhere you're going to need to get is going to be like a 15 to 20 minute drive. Now, the good news is traffic is really never that bad here, but the distance kind of makes up for the time you spend in the car. So just prepare for a little bit of a drive almost everywhere. And if you're used to not having to have a car at all or don't really drive very often, if you come to Oklahoma City, that's going to change. And this next topic kind of ties all of that in together, but one of the reasons you're going to need a car is because, well, it's not very walkable, but also the public transportation kind of sucks. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I know firsthand like I take the bus everywhere, but it just doesn't get you around all the places in the city like you may be used to in another major city. Now, I keep reading we are going to have a lot of improvements to the bus routes, and a lot of those are being funded by the MAPS 4 tax initiatives that have brought a lot of really good upgrades and developments here in the city, but many of those aren't even going to be taking place until like 2028 or even later. So I guess all I'm saying is that you probably can't count on public transportation to be your only mode of transportation, so that kind of takes you back to the you're going to need a car. All right, this next one kind of sticks me in the ribs because it's a little more personal and recent, at least for me. But homeowners insurance is definitely not cheap here. Now, I want to take a moment to say before I just totally scare you away that almost everything is notably cheaper here in Oklahoma City versus most major cities. So we got that going for us. But unfortunately, homeowners insurance is absolutely not one of the things on that list. In fact, I think it's among some of the most expensive throughout the United States. And nothing made that more clear than when I recently got my escrow update from my mortgage bank to see that my insurance this year had gone up nearly 35%. Like, seriously, I called my insurance agent, was like, my guy, did somebody do the math incorrectly here? Because what is going on? And naturally, I shopped around and found out that honestly, I have the cheapest insurance that's available. So I guess I'm just gonna have to pay 35% more this year. But good Lord, thank God for cheaper housing and cheaper groceries and cheaper gas than the rest of the country, because insurance is no joke here. Okay, I'm circling back to the weather, and I know I sound pretty bitter about this from this morning's wind attack, but for the love of God, the wind, just in general, not just the cold. We know it makes the cold colder, like way colder. But honestly, the wind just kind of ruins a lot of otherwise really nice days. One of the most irritating things about the Oklahoma wind is that it can literally never decide which direction is blowing. If I got any of my Oklahomans in the comments, let me know if you know what I'm talking about. It's like, is this coming north, south, east, west, up, down? I literally don't know. And look, I'm really grateful that we get something like 205 sunny days here a year. And we do get a lot of pretty days where the wind isn't a problem, but good grief. Sometimes I walk outside on an otherwise beautiful day only to have my left eyelashes somehow end up in my right eye. I mean, something's got to give. Okay, something I know probably a lot of you are waiting for me to get to, but that is storm season. And yes, of course, tornadoes. Now, I want to stop and say that tornadoes are not as wildly frequent here in the OKC metro as a lot of people seem to think. Yes, statistically, you'll see that there are 1 or 2 tornadoes that touch ground in Oklahoma City every year, but those are generally EF2s or below, and you often don't hear the aftermath of those because they often don't have any real meaningful damage that occurred. The reality is there have been 2 really devastating tornadoes that have occurred here in the OKC metro in the last 25 years, and there is no doubt that those were horrible events that led to lives lost and widespread damage. But the truth is, tornadoes that catastrophic are very rare here in the OKC metro, but I totally understand if you live somewhere where tornadoes aren't a thing, that it's going to be a concern for you. But as a quick disclaimer, I always tell people, I've lived in Oklahoma City my entire life. I've never been in a tornado. I get this question a lot. I actually had someone recently ask me in the comments if I know several people who have gotten their homes rebuilt more than once because of tornadoes. And I don't mean to make it sound like that's a dumb question. I mean, it's a totally valid concern, but I don't even know one person who's had even one home rebuilt, let alone multiple people who've had several homes rebuilt. So that's not really a thing here. Once you become an Oklahoman, I promise you'll tune into the weather, you'll take precautions, and you'll take action when needed. But here's my beef with Oklahoma storm season. It's the freaking hail. Seriously, I bought a car last year, I think it was in February, and by like May or June, I already had a storm come through that gave me 2 shiny hail dings that I could pretty much see every time I get into my car. Now, to be fair, I don't have a garage here. I decided it was a good idea to renovate that into an office, and I live in an old house, so you know, is what it is. Maybe not the smartest move, but the hail season, just not something I look forward to. Get yourself a garage. Take it from your realtor. Maybe I should stop to tell you thanks at this point because this has really felt almost like a therapy session. I'm feeling a little better. I'm feeling a little bit zen. All right, now back to probably my last complaint about the weather, but the summers, holy shit. Why are they so hot? I am grateful that we get all 4 seasons here. We get some beautiful springs, and the falls are, honestly, that's my favorite time of year. And the winter usually isn't that unbearable. I mean, I can even go hiking into December until the wind starts slapping my face in January and February. But anyway, the summers, we get on average 10 or 12 days that are 100 or more here, but the last couple of years, I swear to you, it's been like 15 or 20. And I'm not sure what it is about these Oklahoma summers, but it feels like my skin is boiling. And if it feels like I'm being dramatic, okay, That's just the kind of day that I'm having. But I'm pretty sure after last summer, there's DNA from my legs on my leather seats in my car, and between that and the hail dings, it's fair to say that my car is not so new anymore. So now that I'm feeling a little bit better, I just want to say a couple nice things about Oklahoma City. It's beautiful out there during the spring and the summer when it's not boiling your skin off. And so if you want to enjoy some of the outdoors that Oklahoma City has to offer, maybe you should take a look at this video right here where I go through some of my favorite parks. Seriously, not enough people watch that video and I'm super proud of it. Just go check it out. Anyway, as always, guys, until next time, I certainly hope to see you soon. See ya.